You tell them it hurts, and they tell you to calm down. You say you can't keep going like this, and they say, let's wait and see. But what happens when waiting leads to a misdiagnosis? What happens when your voice is labeled instead of heard? By the end of this episode, we're going to name exactly why women's pain is still dismissed, what it cost us, and how to reclaim power when your voice is ignored in the exam room. Hey, beautiful souls. This is Empowerment and Illness. I'm Gwen, your host. We're at the end of season 5 and a powerful series called The System Isn't Broken. It was built this way, where we're pulling apart the systems that silence, misdiagnose, and marginalize people living with chronic conditions. Today, we're talking about a form of dismissal that hit close to home for far too many of us. The way women's pain is ignored, downplayed, or outright denied in medicine. This episode is for the woman who was told she was too emotional when she was having a heart attack. For the girl who spent years explaining her pain before anyone believed her. For the mother who's too exhausted to function but is told to just push through. And for every woman who's been gaslit by the very system she trusted to help her heal. We're going to talk about the history behind this, the stories happening now, and the quiet harm caused by bias disguised as care. More importantly, we're going to talk about how we change it. Let's begin. Medical dismissal of women isn't new. It's historical. The term hysteria was once a catch-all diagnosis for women expressing physical, emotional, or mental distress. That label didn't die. It evolved. Today, it shows up in ways women are told their symptoms are psychological, stress-related, or just part of being female. Instead of curiosity, they get condescension. Research backs this up. Women are more likely to have their pain underestimated by medical professionals. They're less likely to be referred to specialists. And when they are, it often takes longer. One study found that women wait longer in emergency rooms to receive pain medication than men with the same symptoms. That delay isn't just inconvenience. It can be deadly. And this bias compounds when race, weight, disability, or socioeconomic status enters the picture. Black women, in particular, face the harshest outcome with maternal mortality and diagnostic delays that reflect a system shaped by centuries of bias. Women in larger bodies often have their symptoms blamed on weight before tests are even run. And when women are disabled, they're infantilized, not believed, seen as burdens instead of people. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like your pain was invisible? Have you been told to calm down instead of being taken seriously? What does it do to your body and your spirit when your suffering is minimized? I can't tell you how many women I've heard from on TikTok and podcast messages and emails who all say the same thing. I was ignored. Their symptoms were minimized. Their pain was brushed off. And when they tried to advocate for themselves, they were punished for it. Not with violence, but with silence, with withheld care, with the quiet closing of a medical chart and a suggestion to just lose weight. Some women told me they were labeled drug seekers just for asking for relief. Others said that they were told their symptoms were hormonal or stress-related, even when they had clear signs of autoimmune disease, infection, or organ damage. A shocking number of them were told flat out, you're just too anxious, or you'll feel better if you exercise more. And behind those words were a deeper message. You don't deserve care until you fit our mold of who needs it. And here's the part we don't talk about enough. If you speak up too much, if you ask too many questions, if you insist on being taken seriously, you get labeled difficult, demanding, aggressive. And once that label is in your file, good luck. That label follows you. It shapes every future interaction. It silences you in advance. Women have learned that too much self-advocacy gets them dismissed, and not enough gets them forgotten. Let me ask you this. Have you ever held back a question out of fear they'd stop listening to you? Have you ever worried about being too much in a space where your pain should have been the focus? How many times have you walked out of an appointment and thought, I didn't say what I needed to say? Being ignored doesn't just hurt your feelings. It hurts your body. Chronic illnesses go undiagnosed. Life-threatening conditions worsen. Mental health deteriorates. And all the while, women are taught to second-guess their instincts, their symptoms, and their truth. That's not just trauma. It's gaslighting in a white coat. Let's be clear. Some women die from being dismissed. One listener told me her mother was sent home from the ER twice in 1 week. They said it was anxiety. Her mother passed away because of a misdiagnosis. Another said her provider refused to believe she had endometriosis until she wound up in emergency surgery. And autoimmune conditions? They often get labeled as stress until irreversible damage is done. You know, being a woman in the medical system is like being handed a microphone with the volume turned off. You can speak, scream, sob, but they've already decided what your silence means. And by the time the sound is finally turned up, it's often too late. Let's marinate for a second. What's the cost of being told you're fine when you know you're not? Have you ever felt your health slipping away while waiting for someone else to take you seriously? How would your life look different if they just listened to you the first time? Marinate. So what do we do when we're dismissed, ignored, or labeled? We fight smarter, not louder. We document, we prepare. We enter the room not as beggars for care, but as advocates for our own lives. And if we're dismissed again, we don't retreat, we redirect. We find providers who listen, who believe, and who treat us like people, not problems. We also call it what it is: bias, sexism, medical harm. We don't soften the language to make it more comfortable for the system. We tell the truth because silence is no longer an option. When we name what's happening, we start to dismantle it. We also stop waiting for permission to advocate. Your pain is valid, whether they believe it or not. You don't owe anyone proof to be worthy of care, and you are not dramatic, emotional, or irrational for demanding relief. Think about this. What would it feel like to stop shrinking in the exam room? What would change if you trusted your symptoms more than their indifference? What would healing look like if you were allowed to be believed? Marinate on that one too. Listeners, here's our action plan. How to advocate when you're dismissed. Number 1, document every appointment. Take notes on what was said, who you spoke with, and what was or wasn't done. Ask for summaries and keep your own records. You are building your safety net. Number 2, come prepared with the symptom timeline. Write out your symptoms, when they started, how they evolved, and what you've tried. It prevents dismissal and strengthens your case. Number 3, bring someone with you. A second voice changes the energy in the room. It adds pressure, accountability, and emotional support. Number 4, don't be afraid to fire your doctor. If they're not listening, they're not treating. Walk away. You're not too much. They're not enough. Number 5, speak up and share your story. Your story might be the exact reason someone else decides to advocate harder. The more we talk, the less they can ignore. Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you reach 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when it does, it will not let go. When we hear about the passing of someone, they have the day they were born and the day they pass away. There is a dash in the middle. It's not a long line, but a short dash. That dash represents your life. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. Women have been silenced for centuries. In medicine, that silence is often disguised as professionalism, policy, or just doing our job. But behind the polite tone is a loud message. We don't believe you. And when we internalize that message, we begin to believe it too, but not anymore. Your symptoms are not an overreaction. Your instincts are not too loud. Your fear is not irrational. Your voice is not the problem. It's the beginning of the solution. You are not put here to shrink in spaces where you're supposed to heal. You were put here to take up space, tell the truth, and refuse to disappear. The system may label you, ignore you, even try to shame you, but you've already done something revolutionary. You've survived. And now you're doing something even more powerful. You're speaking. You're reclaiming your narrative. And with every story you share, you make it safer for someone else to speak up too. You are not too much. You are not imagining things. You are not alone. Before we close, I want to pay tribute to the fallen lupus warriors as we close out Lupus Awareness Month. Their lives mattered. Their voices mattered. And we will continue to speak their names, tell their stories, and fight in their memory. They were mothers, fathers, children, friends, warriors who carried the weight of this disease with grace. Let us take a moment of silence to honor those we've lost to lupus. Thank you. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.